the bizarre Apple clothing line from 1986 that you probably never knew existed. Have you ever wondered what the hype is all about? Well, today we're taking a look at some rare historical photos of Apple's bizarre clothing line from 1986 that you probably never knew existed. So sit tight and get ready for a wild ride through time. In the mid-80s, Apple was feeling pretty good about itself. The Mac had just been released and was a huge hit. So Apple thought it would be a great idea to capitalize on its popularity by launching its own clothing line. But there was just one problem. Apple had no idea what it was doing. The first thing that we have to talk about is the name. Apple chose the name Applecore for its clothing line, which was a play on the Beatles' name. But this was a really bad idea because it caused some serious trademark issues with the band. To make matters worse, the clothes were really expensive, which didn't help with sales. But perhaps the most bizarre thing about Apple's clothing line was the designs. They were absolutely insane. One of the most popular items was a pair of jeans that cost $150. And believe it or not, they actually sold out. Can you imagine paying $150 for a pair of jeans? But these weren't just any jeans. They were made of high-quality materials and had a very unique style that was unlike anything else on the market. Another item that was popular among Apple's employees was the I Love Macintosh t-shirt. This shirt was only available to Apple employees and was a symbol of pride for those who worked for the company. But if you weren't an Apple employee, you couldn't buy the shirt even if you wanted to, because they were never sold in stores or online. The wildest piece in Apple's clothing line has to be the Think Different sweatshirt. It sports a cool light bulb graphic and the phrase Think Different in a retro font. But get this, it costs a jaw-dropping $200, which is like $525 today. Crazy, right? So why did Apple bother with this stupid clothing line anyway? Well, it turns out that Steve Jobs wanted to create a clothing line that would appeal to the creative class. He felt that traditional clothing was too boring and wanted to create something that was more fun and expressive. But this didn't really work out because most people just saw the clothes as being overpriced and not very practical. In the end, Apple's clothing line was a total failure. It only lasted for a few years, and the clothes quickly became outdated. But that doesn't mean that they're not interesting to look at today. In fact, I think they're pretty cool, and it's fun to see how Apple tried to break into the fashion industry. Just goes to show that even big companies like Apple can make some pretty dumb decisions sometimes. But hey, at least they tried, and at least we got some pretty interesting clothes out of it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.